Travis Wingetzel. So, my life is on high alert for the weekend. If you've been following, I always make sure that there's somebody in authority who is at least notified in advance to protect myself and hopefully cause the terrorist to back off. But President Russell M. Nelson had done it again in this October conference. So let's go over last year's death threat that got me here. So in 2021 October conference, Nelson gave the talk in which he was talking about perils. It comes from section 122. The background history is the Mormon War in Missouri, when Governor Boggs issued the extermination order against the Mormons. What had happened was in 1837, Joseph Smith's Kirtland Safety Society was sabotaged by the Danites. The Danites, who were Mormons, secretly a part of this Gadianton band, took out excessive loans that they didn't pay back and had no intention of paying back. They just lived high on the hog. And that, of course, crashed it. And then Joseph Smith got sued for its collapse. But he was able to get away with that accusations. I think there was like 17 lawsuits. But he then was concerned about the missionaries under Brigham and Heber who were going around telling converts that the church is Jewish, that Joseph Smith is Christian, that Joseph Smith is Christian, and that the Book of Mormon is Christian literature, another testament of Jesus Christ, and that Jesus Christ is their Christ. And so he had to write his Learning of the Jews record in 1838 about how they're Jewish. He's Jewish, and the Book of Mormon is Jewish literature. After all, it's written after the learning of the Jews, not the Christians, not Muslims, Jews. And yet we all are so brainwashed in the church that we just glaze over it, and there's no footnote, so there's nothing to study to learn what it is. They purposely set us up to be part of the con. And so that sort of pissed off Brigham and Heber, as Brigham Young.
Gentlemen, if you're interested in going to the Homeless Resource Fair, please meet us out front. We will be in a gold van, and we will be leaving here in a couple of minutes. Thank you.
Is this no longer the Homeless Resource Center? Was that thing last weekend something I should have known about? Am I going to be kicked out this weekend? So, Brigham Young has in the Joseph Smith papers a document claimed to have been a or a blessing by Joseph Smith, or a prophecy to Brigham Young, in which Brigham Young supposedly came to Joseph Smith, said, "I'd like a blessing, please." And Joseph Smith says, "The Lord wants you to go back to your family and spend some time with them." And then all hell broke loose. The Danites had as their headquarters Adam-on-Diamond. And the Newell K. Whitney of Section 117 infamy the Nicolaitan band, that's the Gadianton band, the Danites. And they called all the Danites from all over the United States to Adamon-Diomen for that election in Daviess County that year. And they were going to make sure that their candidate got into office. And the other candidate was concerned that he was a victim of election fraud. And a Mormon war broke out. As Representative Chris Stewart, his ancestor was the one to first get punched and knocked to the ground. And then the Danites got in a royal rumble with the townspeople who were there to vote. And in the process, the Danites obviously outnumbered, and they went to the judge in the sheriff's house, forced them to sign affidavits saying it was Joseph Smith's fault. And so when Brigham and Heber ordered Orrin Porter Rockwell to go assassinate Governor Boggs, learning of the affidavits, had Joseph Smith arrested. And as I've gone over with you in the bombshell breaking news videos that I do about church history, Joseph was up in far west Missouri, which was too far away for him to get there even by evening time for that event that took place, because he was there selling his wife Emma some property, and the Joseph Smith Papers has that document on that very day. And so there's no way Joseph Smith was involved or gave the orders. He didn't even know about it. Because again, the whole Adamon-Diomen, again, bombshell breaking news by me, was the headquarters of the Danites. And so Joseph Smith was locked up in Liberty Jail. And while in Liberty Jail, he gives sections 121 and 122. And Nelson quoted from section 122 in last year's conference talk. And this was right before I was given the missionary card telling me that I was a target for a terrorist attack of potential assassination. As looking back, they failed to assassinate me, but got me evicted. And I was at that bus stop with Metro police hired by the church to spy on me at that bus stop. So, in verse 3, and thy people shall never be turned against thee by the testimony of traitors. Who do you think Nelson is referring to when he's quoting from this? Although their influence shall cast thee into trouble. And as you can tell, Nelson was putting himself as Joseph Smith, and I, the traitor, whose influence is casting trouble for the church. And yet it was Nelson who's the one as the Danite descendant. And I don't think he's actually a Danite descendant, maybe through other lines, but I think his mother, maybe, but regardless of whether he is or not, doesn't matter. He's the leader of the band.
Your Reeboks.
Reeboks?
Your shoes.
Oh, yeah.
They're nice.
Thanks. Okay. I've had them since 2020, I think. Yeah. So yeah, these were the shoes that I often wore to go get my main source of income at the time, and where the Metro was stalking me and The little card was purposely dropped at the bus stop. And I did the videos back then, and people were saying, "Oh, I don't think so. No, no. Why didn't you say now, guys?" But and so 5, we'll just skip through to 5. And so, if thou art called to pass through tribulation, if thou art in perils among false brethren, a Mormon who betrays Joseph, if thou art in perils among Gadiant and band of robbers, if thou art in perils by land or sea, if thou art accused with all manner of false accusations. See what Nelson was reversing? I'm the one defending myself against the church's false accusations against me. They go all the way back. And I've done the videos showing you that when I came to the church January 2nd, 1998, with my rewritten decipherment of Paleo-Hebrew, because the first X and well, memories on the corner of my mind. And they called me a troublemaker. They put my work in a troublemaker file, a secret troublemaker file. I didn't know about it until the church did not like it that I had filed in the state courts a petition for redress of grievances. And you can't do that in Utah. You're not allowed your First Amendment rights here. And so they had the government paid, leveraged, and ordered to come after me instead. And I disappeared for 6 years of my life. So when Nelson got up and gave his Don't Commit Abuse video talk, yeah, there's things he's not telling you guys that you will only learn from me. And so, I'm the one who's in the role of Joseph Smith. Nelson is in the role of Brigham Young. He's the president of the 12, regardless of his claim to being the president of the church. He doesn't have the right keys. I've gone over that with you. And so this is how I decoded Nelson's talk, that he was targeting me for assassination. And sure enough, yeah, they came hard. They got other people, Mormon and associates, if you're familiar with the criminal organization structure. And dear God, they tried to starve me to force an eviction, which failed. And then they were committing all sorts of acts of terrorism to cause more further harm to me. And eventually they got a person who lied, because she came to me warning me of the threat to my life. And then it was her. Dear God. And so, yeah, that was last year. So this year, they've destroyed my life. But as you can see, I'm still going here. And I've been finding more stuff out, dropping more bombshells over the past year. And so, with this year, Nelson is getting a little more upset, a little more desperate, because this place is not doing the job, as I have the counterclaim in my eviction lawsuit, so that I can protect myself, as the accusations that I presented are serious enough that the federal government has required to be involved to investigate. And they just keep on going month after month after month, and I keep telling them, hey, they're going to be doing this, and then it happens, and then I say, see, I told you so. There's another thing coming now because you didn't stop them before. And oh, there it is again, and again, and again. And so here in this conference, Nelson repeats his wording, not precisely as he said it in 2018's April General Conference Solemn Assembly Conference. Did anybody know that? Did anybody catch it? I'm not seeing anybody who caught it. I caught it. I did the videos. But the difference is that now Jesus is on his way in the coming days. And so, yep, he changed it so that Jesus is now coming in the coming days, whereas previously there was some other stuff. And in both instances, he was trying to warn you Mormons to stay away from the fake news media so that you can discern truth from error. Now, well, he used the word overcome. And in the context of the second coming, which is incorrect, because we're not Christian, we're Jewish, it has significance. Because, as I still have it in my scripture search, Revelation talks about it in Revelation chapter 17. And let's see. He's talking about, or John is talking about, how there's going to be a war against the Lamb. This is the Jewish Christ, not Jesus, even though John uses the name Jesus, because Jesus as a name means Yah, the Hebrew God of salvation. He's for the latter days, because Jeremiah chapter 23, starting in verse 5, tells us that the man like Moses, as prophesied in Deuteronomy 18:15 through 18, is going to save the Jews as well as others. And so Joseph Smith, taking that prophecy in his angelic visit, which next year is the bicentennial year, and at 6 p.m. on Sunday is the Jewish day of that very same time that Joseph Smith was going over with us. But it wasn't September, it's the 7th Jewish month and the 22nd day, which is the 8th and final day of the Jewish holy day of Sukkot, which is the Feast of Tabernacles, or the harvest holiday. And so, if you're unfamiliar with the second coming, it all has harvest analogy with the gathering of Israel. And so there's going to be a war in which a burning is used after the harvest is done to prepare the ground for the next harvest in the following year. But in this particular case, it's talking about the latter days and using that analogy to illustrate an enemy threat that will burn the world. And so there's going to be a war against this Christ, whom Joseph Smith says will be a Mormon. In 2 Nephi chapter 3, it says that Joseph Smith is a man like Moses, but is not the man like Moses, who is the Mormon to be the latter-day Christ of Mormons. That's who we're supposed to be. And yet Nelson is purposely calling the Lamb Jesus Christ of Christianity. And they try to claim that, oh no, it's not the same Jesus as Christians. We are before Constantine. We're the literal Jesus who was literally on the earth. But that's what Constantine designated. You're pulling an anachronism on us and deceiving us, gaslighting us in a sense. I was just at Barnes & Noble today, and the cashier had just watched recently the original English or British version of the movie Gaslighting from 1940. And she talked about how she was in the fraudulent educational field of psychology. I didn't get into a discussion with her about it, but yeah, it was... She says that she was told to tell everybody that everybody gets it wrong. Well, if you saw the English version at least, a woman is married to a guy, and the guy is purposely being mean to his wife and sets it up to where he has the gas lights flicker, and she's going, the lights are flickering, oh no, and he's going, what are you talking about? They didn't flicker. That looked fine to me. He was gaslighting her. That's where it comes from. It's where you deny reality to another person when they do see something, and then that questions their, did I actually see it, or am I going crazy? And so as a psychologist, she should have known that's what she does in her field of study. They gaslight their clients so that they can have clients. And I've gone over that with you. As the war for America is going to use that against you guys. Not just Mormons, but the United States citizens and those who are trying to become citizens. And so he was referring to section 88 with his version of overcome, because these are the latter days that this overcome refers to. And Nelson got his quoting from section 88 of the Doctrine and Covenants. And in section 105, or verse 105, it talks about the fall of the great and abominable church, which is from John's Revelation. And that was 14, wasn't it? Or was that also 17? Let me check. Now has come Jesus, salvation. Power of his anointed. There's a war in heaven. Oh, that's 12. Oh, wrong one. That's the start of the latter days, is in 12, what I've gone over with you. Let's see. Kings have fallen. Perdition. Power. No, it doesn't seem like it. I think it's in 14. Lamb stood upon Mount Zion. Yeah, redeemed. Those are the first fruits. Yeah, after talking about, but that's not it, actually. So 15, saints are exalted, has become established at 17. Nations assemble for Armageddon at 16. Saints are called out of Babylon. She falls and is lamented by her supporters. Yeah, 18 is the passage, comparable passage with 1 Nephi chapter 13 about the fall of Babylon. And Joseph Smith in section 1, the preface, verse 16, it uses Babylon. They claim that the Doctrine and Covenants was decoded in the 1981 edition, but they lie to us, they gaslight us, Babylon no longer exists. It's still the coded word. It's the great and abominable church. And so who is he talking to about the fall of the great and abominable church? Mormons. He's talking to Mormons, because in 14 and 15, that precedes 16, those are the ordinances of the temple that only Mormons are doing. And so, yes, Mormons are in the great and abominable church, and the man like Moses is section 103, verse 16. Alright, so let's go back to 88. Seriously? Seriously? Alright, and so it talks about Donald Trump. In verse 105, and the angel shall sound his Donald J. Trump, which is the sixth angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, may the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. She is fallen, she is fallen. And so 106, this is where Nelson steps in. He doesn't talk about the fall of the great and abominable church. He starts here. Another angel shall sound his trump, which is the seventh angel, saying, It is finished, it is finished. The Lamb of God hath overcome and trodden the winepress alone, even the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of Almighty God. Inheritance and equal. Here's the living. Secret acts revealed. So I guess that's going to be porn videos. And then Satan of the great and abominable church, the leader of the great and abominable church, is going to be locked up in federal prison for a millennium. And then loosed after 1,000 years on parole when he gathers his armies to go up against the let's see, who is like God. That's the Hebrew meaning of Michael. The seventh angel, even the archangel, shall gather together his armies, even the armies of heaven. It's interesting that he used host in the English translation when host comes from the word meaning armies. I guess they didn't want a redundancy of speech, even though there is, because right in 1:13, devils shall gather together his armies, and even the armies of hell, and shall come to battle against Michael and his armies. Armies, 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 armies. So yeah, the great battle. But, yeah. And so in this situation, this is the latter days, that the Lamb will have overcome the great and abominable church. And the Exodus was supposed to occur in 2020, when the saints of the Lamb, the Church of the Lamb, would be building Zion over these past 2 years. And then as the climate change occurs, and the election fraud occurs the second time around, it's in the Book of Mormon, guys. It's coded. Not a literal history. Prophesying of the Jews. And the learning of the Jews. That's how the Book of Mormon was written. It is another gospel, but it's messianic literature, not a Christian gospel. Christians culturally appropriated the Jewish scriptures and turned them into literal history because of what Constantine did. And so Nelson, again, he's claiming that he's the Messiah, even though he's saying Jesus, and that I am the leader of the great and abominable church. Which, if you knew the name of my business that he knew, because I submitted it to the counterclaim in the court, to the court with the counterclaim, yeah, he there's a reason why the state government held on to my license that I've had to disbar or disband, whatever it's called, recently. I'm still waiting for the whole thing to process now, but yeah, the church destroyed it. And but yeah, it's funny because people are confused. I tried to keep it simple rather than complex in the field specific wording, because nobody understands field specific wording except for those who go into the field. You know, like doctors. You know, they use the Greek words combined together for all the bones of the body and the muscles and the drugs, and the signatures then are only deciphered by the receptionist. But they had making rounds more frequently today. But that's what Nelson again is doing, the same exact pattern from last year, but now it's in a different context. Instead of jail, it's now the final battle, the final war, when the overcoming of the great and abominable church is supposed to take place. So now do you see what I'm aware of for this weekend, if not in the coming days of the election for the midterms that I've gone over with you? And I'm concerned because you MAGA supporters apparently are not getting told by Fox News or QAnon or other reliable sources that you believe in of what the MAGA congresspersons have already set up and are planning to do. Because I'm hearing other followers here in this shelter who seem concerned about Joe Biden. They are unaware of the coming storm. Which I saw season 2, episode 2 of Star Trek Picard. Yesterday, yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was yesterday. Dear God. That just shocked me. I was like, what? That's where they got it from. And so, yeah. Dear God. But yeah, you have Q, who tampers with Jean-Luc Picard yet again for the final time, the final war. But yeah, that's what Nelson's pissed with me for, is that I figured it out. Just like I figured it out last year, I figured it out again. And it's got to be driving him crazy. How's he figuring this out? What do you mean, how? It's called study. I know you tried telling Mormons not to study and just read and get spiritual feelings, like a psychologist wants people to do. To gaslight people. But, yeah, it's amazing what you can find out and learn when you actually do study. If only well, won't go down that path in this video, because we're already at 33 minutes. So, yeah, so again, I'm anticipating an assault on my life to finally end me once and for all. Because Nelson so far has gotten away with it. Federal government does an eternal investigation, not internal, eternal, perpetual investigation. Despite all the warnings that they ignore as things keep happening, as I told them it would. So, I mean, I've been giving them warnings way back in the day, and it's just unbelievable. But yeah, I'm the one responsible for the seditious conspiracy charge. I've told you, I sued the church to protect myself against their attacks against me. ordering the landlord and the property manager back in the day. As I had gotten, she had sent me a signed confession that she did it and that she was planning to do it again the next year. And what do you know? 2021, the next year. Well, and so, but yeah, they were pissed with my lawsuits because I knew, because the judge was not recusing themselves, that I was not going to win, because you cannot have somebody compromised on the bench, and anybody associated or member of the church are compromised when the church is either on the prosecution or the defense side. Judges must recuse themselves to refer to a specific judge on the Supreme Court, and others also for certain cases that are coming before them. But yeah, that's how corrupt our government is, and that's sad, because the Book of Mormon prophecies are actually coming to pass. Uh-oh, gotta end.